whittling knife from him and runs her finger across the edge of it. It's cold and tingling. It makes her shiver. Pip's 6. Don't, Tom. Annie gets up and puts the knife up in the high cupboard. All fine, see? You can't leave your knives and chisels around like that. I mean, even for a normal kid, let alone one like Pip who's acting out and, I am a normal kid! Pip yells from the hallway. Annie picks up her coffee. She hears like a bat. Pip marches into the kitchen, her green scarf wrapped around her neck. When she was younger, it was a sock puppet Tom had made her that she dragged around the house. Now it's the green scarf. She likes to pull it over her head when she's sleeping and often wears it over her face when they leave the house. And I'm not Pip, she says. She's pale and long-limbed, and her mess of dark hair is pulled up into a lopsided ponytail. One sock is half off her foot. I'm Philip! Sorry, Phil, says Tom, ruffling her hair. Pip bats at him. Philip! Right. Sorry, Philip. I like your scarf. You want some muesli? Pip pulls a wounded expression and sits down at the table. I am normal. And I'm Philip. Annie pulls Pip into her lap. We know. Pip shrugs away. I'm normal and I'm Philip. She pauses. And can you make me fairy bread for breakfast, Dad? Annie's uncle and mother still live on the mountain where she grew up. Her uncle lives in a brick house in town, and her mother lives in a house that is half destroyed, boxed in with corrugated iron, on the family farm 10 minutes out of town. Annie thinks about them a lot. She traces their names and their faces into the margins of the newspaper she stares at, but can never quite read. Sometimes she tries to whittle them into wood, but she's never been much good at whittling. Not like her Nana, who seemed able to mould the wood into shapes just by thinking about it. When Annie tries to whittle or carve, the wood doesn't fall into a hard shape, but wavers until it disappears, becoming a pile of shavings on the couch or the kitchen table. She finishes the dishes Tom has started while Tom watches Pip brush her teeth. She hears her daughter's voice. But I want the shiny pink ribbons, Dad. You need the blue ones for school. But, Dad, the pink ones, please. Later, Annie drops a kiss onto Pip's head. Her daughter smells like the green scarf, that musty smell Annie can't remove no matter how many times she puts it on slow cycle in the washing machine. Pip frowns and tugs at the blue ribbons in her hair until they fall out, and then she stares down at them as though there's something valuable that she's broken. Come on, Tom says, putting an arm around her and steering her towards the front door. Pip begins to cry quietly, but she doesn't struggle away. Once they've gone, Annie pulls out the knife from the top cupboard and goes outside into their tiny, sparse backyard. Most of it is concreted, and the bit that isn't might as well be. She's tried to coax a lawn to grow, but the ground stays stubbornly hard and grey. At dusk, it's hard to pick the dirt from the concrete. Annie always pulls the curtains closed early. Behind the little shed in the corner of their grey yard, Annie settles down on her knees and rummages through the wood stuffed into the narrow gap there. Bits of fencing and legs from furniture cast out for hard rubbish collection. Branches and frames and hardwood flooring. All pieces she has found. She prefers pieces small enough to be stuffed into her oversized handbag, but sometimes she will make an exception. Last week she dragged home a branch longer than she was tall, and Pip laughed at her and Tom shook his head. You're nuts, Annie. She wasn't sure whether he meant it. She settles down cross-legged with a block of red gum she found in the gutter near the vet clinic where she works. She wants to whittle the shape of a dancing Pip, but the wood feels dead in her fingers. She remembers wood as being alive, her Nana pressing her hands to the rough face of it. Feel that? It's living. That's what's so wonderful about wood, particularly eucalypts. They're a special sort of tree. But the eucalypts in the city feel different. Her Nana, Gladys, handled wood like something living, deft and gentle and fluid all at once.